Vattalil, today known as Blessed Rani Maria, was born in Pullivari in Ernakulam district of Kerala on 29th January 1954 as the second of 7 children to Paili and Elisha of Vattalil family. Vattalil was a family of prayer and deep spirituality. Elisha taught Mary in her childhood to repeatedly recite the name of Jesus. She grew in prayer and Christian values and discipline.
After the completion of her school studies, Mary joined the Franciscan Clarice congregation at Kidangur. Upon entering the novitiate, she assumed the religious name Rani Maria. She made her first profession on 1st May 1974. After the profession, she was sent to Bijnor diocese to teach in an English medium school.
As soon as I took charge of the mission station in Bijnor, she also came back after her training in missionary orientation. Although she was teaching in the English medium school, but her heart was with the poor. She was asking repeatedly to Mother Provincial to relieve her from the teaching. Because of her interest and genuine commitment to the poor, the superiors were good enough to relieve her.
Sister Rani was my friend. We were working together in Bijnor, and at that time she had no companion. She was alone in the village work. After class, we both were going to the village, and evangelization was her main intention. And she used to tell that village people also are brothers and sisters, so we had to lift them up. So non-formal schools, one village we started, and first day few children came, and the next day we distributed some sweets. So then after that so many children started coming. Then one place there were more than 60, then father told to appoint one teacher there and you move to another village. Then we went to another, like that we started 4 non-formal schools in the neighboring villages.
In July 1983, Rani Maria was transferred to Odgadi in Satna Diocese in Madhya Pradesh. She served as the coordinator of social activities in Odgadi.
My association with Sister Rani Maria started in 1983 while she was working at Odgadi. As I visited the villages with her, she was not just making or helping the people, but she was also trying to create or make leaders from among the people. She used to organize the people of the village, especially the women folk, to make groups which would help itself so that they can continue helping themselves even afterwards, whenever she wouldn't be there. So she was sort of forming leaders from the groups of the people in the villages. And one thing especially that I noticed was how she was creating self-help groups in the villages, organizing women and making them financially self-sufficient.
After serving the poor people of Odgadi for 9 years, in May 1992, Sister Rani Maria moved to Udayanagar in Devas district within the Diocese of Indore. She worked among the poor tribals and Dalits of Udayanagar in the Vindhya Hills for their overall development. She had to save them from the money lenders and the exploiting feudalists. Thus Rani Maria became a good news and shared good news to the poor.
Saint Luke in his Gospel chapter 4 declares about the manifesto of Jesus when he said in the synagogue, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach good news to the poor." And this is what was taken to heart by Sister Rani Maria. The poor was always her concentration. She brought the good news to the poor brought liberation to the captives, bring the gospel alive in their life. And this is what marks her out as a person who lived the gospel.
Giving awareness on the right to livelihood and human rights, forming committees of women, youth and farmers, managing distribution of seeds, fertilizer and insecticide through banks, advocacy with government, bank officials, as well as organizing Christian and interreligious prayer meetings were the major services of Sister Rani Maria.
I was the first companion for Sister Rani Maria in the field of social work. She introduced me all the places. We stayed together there 1 year. Then came to Udayanagar. There we were working for the total upliftment of the people. She was very prayerful. Very early morning she used to get up into the chapel and sit at least 1 hour before the Blessed Sacrament. Then only she goes to the village. While going time also we used to say rosary and talk about these poor people, then about prayer, how we will teach that people prayer. With the people also, her thirst was to giving Jesus. We have to bring them to Jesus. At the same time, we have to uplift the people in all the ways.
Proclamation of the gospel implies empowerment in living the gospel values in the given situation. Like the basic Christian communities, she formed small groups in the villages, namely self-help groups discussing their problems in the light of the gospel values.
My contact with Rani Maria was very good. I have worked with her. She formed a self-help group here. Before that, we had to fetch water on our heads from 3 kilometers away. In the extreme summer, it was a difficult task. Some even died bringing water. She inspired us to form a group. She accompanied us to Devas and Bagli many times to request the officers for water facility. Thus borewells were dug and pipeline was laid in the entire village. The tank you see gets water from the same borewell. Today, every tribal household cultivates wheat, gram and has green fields. You will find milking cattle here. This village produces 200 liters of milk daily. 2 dairy farms are running.
समूह बनाया था सिस्टर रानी मारिया के तरफ से.
With the help of Sister Rani Maria, we formed the self-help group. We started with investing rupees 20 and later 50 and then 100. Thus, we had a collection of rupees 3 lakhs. We distributed our own money among ourselves with small interest. Our families benefited by taking loans with our own small interest to buy seeds and for other farming expenses and pay it back in time.
तो वो पैसे अपन उठा लो और टाइम पे वापस भर दो.
I am working in Udayanagar. Here I am in charge of the social work. There was no water in this area and she called people from Delhi and made so many borewells in the interior villages. Juladat village, it is a stony place. At least 7 borewells she has helped to dig. And in that place now they are producing lot of crop, cultivating cotton, wheat, maize and many other things. The group which sister started, I could take all the money and distribute to them after 25 years last year. Almost all the ladies are very old and they wanted to get the money and they are very happy. All of them got 8,000, 11,000 interest itself and plus whatever they saved. And my experience with Sister Rani Maria, she used to introduce us telling that we all are God's children. So we should feel that we are working for our own brothers and sisters. We should be with the poor people. That is the encouragement that she has given to me and to all our sisters.
Many businessmen, landlords and influential people used to call me to their homes and warn me that she would make me a Christian. I told them, you people taught me to say lies, to drink, to gamble. But as I came in contact with Rani Maria, I have got out of these evils. I had a conversion of heart. I have become a good human being. I have not become a Christian but a human. It is not conversion of religion but of mind.
She always had a smiling presence, a pleasant presence. She had a lot of practical wisdom. And she was happy as a human being. But she would not know how to say great things or big truths of the Bible or theology or spirituality, things like that. But she could communicate the simple message, how Jesus loved you and what you can do because of the love for the Lord and so on.
Every month there will be prayer service. We community also sisters join with her, and we will do bhajans, Bible reading, prayers like that. And we used to show puppet show to the people to make them understand more about the Bible.
She used to teach us some street plays and all, and she used to stand behind the people and show the actions, and she used to prepare us how to give some message to the people through the street plays. We could convey so many messages.
Bribery used to be a common thing here. The subsidy meant for us was eaten up by them. Rani Maria put a total stop to this practice. She would ask the officers to pay us the full amount. Once an officer demanded bribe from me. As soon as I took Rani Maria's name, he said, "It's all right, your work is done." They were afraid of her. She imposed a total ban on corruption. That's why they murdered her.
Jesus was accused by the religious leaders of misleading the fishermen, tax collectors, and the so-called sinners. Rani Maria too was accused of misleading the poor tribals, for raising her prophetic voice on justice and for liberating them from the clutches of the money lenders.
On 25th November 1995, Rani Maria was on her way to Bhopal and then to her homeland for a visit. She boarded a bus to Indore. When the bus reached at Nachanbor Hill, Samandar Singh, who was hired by Rani Maria's enemies, stabbed her 54 times with a dagger. Unto the last breath, she said, "Eshu, Eshu," as was taught to her by her mother.
On her funeral day, people from Indore marched towards Udayanagar in 125 vehicles. Thousands of Hindus and Muslims from nearby villages and towns took part and venerated the body of the great martyr, Sister Rani Maria. People wept on the road. Bishop George Anathil, in his homily during the funeral services, prophesied that her tomb would become a pilgrim center and she would do many more great things after her martyrdom, much more than what she did in her lifetime.
Bishop Anathil's prophecy became a truth. A decade after her death, occurred the great miracle of the conversion of her murderer, Samandar Singh. Through the intervention of saintly Swami Sadanand, Rani Maria's sister Selmi FCC tied Rakhi, the fraternal band, on Samandar's wrist, forgave him, accepted him as her brother. With the appeals written by Rani Maria's parents, Swamiji succeeded to release Samandar from the jail. On his release, Samandar Singh asked Swami Sadanand to take him to Rani Maria's parents in Kerala. Her family members welcomed him. Her mother told him, "You are my son." Her ailing father too blessed him. What a great, genuine, and powerful evangelization.
On 4th November 2017, prophecy of Bishop Anathil came true. Pope Francis declared her blessed. Indore witnessed a grand ceremony of beatification.
Rani Maria was fearlessly open to the working of the Holy Spirit. Same Spirit granted her courage and boldness to share the newness of the gospel to the poor and die for the same. Her rootedness in the person of Jesus, the way she contemplated his face and meditated upon his wounds, and the way she prayed the Jesus prayer 6,000 times a day, and the prolonged hours of adoration and time she spent before the Eucharistic presence gave her an interior impulse. This is what made her a spirit-filled evangelizer, a spiritually disciplined person, and finally a martyr.
Blessed Rani Maria's missionary vision is a challenge to the priests, religious, Christian community, and even voluntary non-governmental organizations to wake up to the cry of the poor and marginalized and help them to live a life worthy of human person and dream for a better future. To be a prophet and a martyr for the cause of justice, peace and love, the values of God's kingdom.